We'll leave it that way.
No, we'll have to do that permitting if this gets approved. Foresight will handle all that.
Good morning. It is July 9th, 2026 at 9 a.m. DeKalb County Drainage Board public hearing for reconstruction of the Bohler drain number 54-00-0. The purpose of the hearing is a reconstruction of a county regulated drain. This hearing is for the purpose of receiving evidence for the following drainage matters. Notices have been filed with the board. Notices were sent by first-class mail to landowners on June 1st, 2026. Public newspaper notices were on June 2nd, 2026 in the Star newspaper. If you haven't done so already, everybody in attendance, please sign the sign-up sheet on the podium in the center of the room before you leave. The surveyor will report on any petitions filed on record and dates of filing and persons who signed the filing. The procedure for conducting this hearing is as follows. We'll have the surveyor's report, petitions first, if any, objections second, and questions and answers last. The surveyor is requested to make his report on the petition, including the history of the drain, recommendations of the surveyor, and explanation of the watershed.
The Bohler regulated drain number 54-00-0. The existing drain was constructed as a system in 1876. Existing tile by record, 4,629 feet of 18-inch, 2,373 feet of 16-inch, 1,576 feet of 12-inch, 1,700 feet of 8-inch. The Bohler lateral 1 was vacated. Bohler lateral 2 is 108 feet of 8-inch. Bohler 3 is 230 feet of 12-inch. Bohler lateral 4 is 1,411 feet of 8-inch. And Bohler lateral 5 is 300 feet of 10-inch. The J.W. Jackman regulated drain 206-00-0 is 1,327 feet of 12-inch, 600 feet of 8-inch, 300 feet of 5-inch. The drain was placed on maintenance on September 9th, 1975, bringing in $284.75 annually. An amended maintenance hearing was held in 1982 to split the watershed into 4 sections. Section 1 was assigned a maintenance rate of $11 an acre. Section 2 was assigned a maintenance rate of $6.75 an acre. Section 3 was assigned a maintenance rate of $6.65 an acre, and Section 4 was assigned a maintenance rate of $3.10 an acre for an annual maintenance collection of $4,750. Since the drain was put on maintenance, the assessment had been collected every year except for 1989 to 1999, 2002 to 2005, and 2007 to 2008. In 2010, the watershed maintenance base increased by 25%, bringing Section 1 to $13.75 an acre, Section 2 to $8.43 an acre, Section 3 to $8.31 an acre, and Section 4 to $3.87 an acre, bringing the current annual collection to $5,980.74. The J.W. Jackman drain is currently not on maintenance, but the Jackman watershed already pays maintenance assessments to the Bohler system as it utilizes the Bohler downstream. The drain is in need of reconstruction and surveyor's opinion because it will not perform the function for what it was designed and constructed. It no longer conforms to the maps, profiles, and plans prepared at the time when the drain was established, and changes have made the drain inadequate to properly drain the lands affected without extensive repairs or changes. The drain has deteriorated to a non-working condition, was not designed to handle the present amount of drainage from the watershed, and is endangering farmland with flooding. With the increase in rainfall due to increased intensity of storm events, with the age of the tile and the deterioration of the tile, collapsing due to the tile failure with the poor grade and slope of the tile, which decreases the water carrying capacity of the tile. With the general poor condition of the tile system, the Bohler regular drain is in need of reconstruction. Total acres in the tile watershed, 598.63. Total land parcels in the watershed, 88. The proposed reconstruction for Oroville regular drain system would consist of the following. As part of the reconstruction for the Oroville regulated drain system, the surveyor's office requests the drain board, the Oroville to envelope the J.W. Jackman regulated drain, number 206-00-0, which is currently not on maintenance, to be placed as an extension of the Oroville lateral 3. The J.W. Jackman watershed will become part of the Oroville watershed. The Oroville tile will consist of 2,815 feet of 36-inch, 4,088 feet of 24-inch, 1,063 feet of 18-inch, 1,740 feet of 12-inch, 900 feet of 10-inch. Oroville lateral 3 will be 2,462 feet of 10-inch. Oroville lateral 4, 1,300 feet of 10-inch. Total engineer's estimate for the cost to the watershed for pipe, fitting, stone, installation, and restoration is $776,367.98. The estimated cost per acre is $1,296.93. Final cost of landowners will be determined by the final cost of the project. Bids will be taken for pipe and fitting, stone backfill, installation of pipe and stone, and restoration of the site. The bids for the project cannot exceed the engineer's estimate by more than 10%, or the project must stop and be rebid. Oroville drain number 54-000, lateral 3 drain number 54-03-0, and Oroville lateral 4 drain number 54-04-0. Combination of the J.W. Jackman regulated drain number 206-00-0 to the Oroville system as an extension of the Oroville lateral 3 as a solution to the ongoing drainage issues and road safety hazards.
Does any board member or any other person have questions to ask the surveyor about the technical aspects of the surveyor's report? This is just the technical aspects of the surveyor's report, not objections or anything else at this time. No questions on the technical. And I have following questions for the surveyor. Are all lands within the watershed assessed?
Yes.
Are all benefits assessed not excessive?
Yes.
Are the cost, damages, and expenses of the reconstruction less than the benefits occurring to the owner of the land benefited by the reconstruction?
Yes.
Now we'll move on to, is there any person in favor of the project who wants to speak? Any person in favor that'd like to speak? No person, okay.
In favor?
In favor. The surveyor will report to the board any person who filed a timely written objection of record by reading the objection and summarizing it for the record, and the board shall consider each one separately by approving or denying the objection.
Okay, first one. It's from Norm Amy Hart. Members of the DeKalb County Drainage Board, the purpose of this letter is to file objections to the reconstruction of the county regulated Oroville drain. My objections come from the review of IC 36-9-27. These objections concern the cost of the project, benefit of the project, and consideration of alternatives that could be less expensive. Objections to section 1 and 2 of IC 36-9-27-52D. Not less than 5 days before the board's hearing on a reconstruction report, an owner of lands affected by the report or by the schedules of damages and assessments may file with the board written objections to the report, schedules, or both. The objections may be for one or more of the following causes. The costs, damages, and expenses of the proposed reconstruction will exceed the benefit that result to the owners of all land benefited. The objector is the owner of land assessed as benefited, and the benefits assessed against his land are excessive. The objector is the owner of the land damaged by the reconstruction and do not have knowledge of what a drain reconstruction should cost, but the cost in the notice date 5/6/26 is 30% greater than the cost mentioned in a drainage board meeting last fall. Has there been any consideration to potentially less expensive alternatives as mentioned in IC 36-9-27-34 to drains in need of periodic maintenance, or 3, drains that should be vacated. According to the notices from Drainage Board, 9.61 acres of my property are benefited. I estimate approximately 1 acre of the benefited land is adversely affected by the current drain, making the benefited assessed against my land excessive. Having so little area affected, the improved drain will not increase my property value or increase crop yield enough to justify the expense. Another concern is that of maintenance of the drain if it is reconstructed. There is no mention of maintenance costs in the notice dated 5/26/06. According to section 52A5, notice should have included this information. That the land of the owner is shown by the schedule of assessments to be annually assessed in the sum of dollars for estimate periodic maintenance of the reconstruction. I feel this is important for property owners to be aware of the future costs of maintaining a reconstructed drain. In summary, I feel the assessment to my property is excessive based on any improvement we would see. I think costs of alternatives need to be considered, and if the Bohler drain is reconstructed, costs of a maintenance program should be shared with property owners. Points of objection: have alternate options such as increased maintenance or vacation been considered? 2, 9.61 benefit acres are incorrect and only approximately 1 acre of the benefited land is affected by the current drain. 3, no mention of maintenance cost. Objection, explanation, rebuttal. There are 3 options for this regulated drain. The first is reconstruction as proposed. The second is for a large maintenance rate increase and extensive maintenance project work repairing and replacing damaged tile from the bottom to the top of the drain system, with the potential for more issues arising in the future due to sections of the drain continuing to utilize poor condition tile, further increasing demand for maintenance funds required. The third option would be to vacate the drain, which is highly unrecommended as it would lead to further road flooding and/or property damage. 2, LiDAR data is utilized in determining benefited acres. The data, along with viewing overland flow paths and topographical lines, show that 9.61 benefited acres is correct. 3, maintenance is already established on the Bohler watersheds through several different rate zones. The maintenance rates will remain the same for the watershed, providing $6,273 annually towards maintenance. When it is collected, maintenance will not be collected during the reconstruction collection time frame. Next objection letter. Jim and Kathy, hi.
Do one at a time.
Yeah, I think it's better, and if they're here and want to speak to it, they should be able to.
How many objection letters are there?
5 or 6.
I think there's 5 on the record, and we received 1 after the time that they were due. But we'll go ahead and read it as well, just the board can hear what they had to say.
I mean, should we wait till to do the against, or just go ahead and go over the?
You could have all the objection letters read. Anybody that wrote an objection letter, if they're here, they could get up and stand and speak about it. And then at the end of that, you can go into it, but we just got to circle back around to voting on the objections.
Let's go ahead and do that. We'll do it one at a time, and whoever wrote the letter can speak at that time.
Okay. So who was that?
Just finished Norm, Amy Hart.
Say that again.
Norm and Amy Hart.
Would either one of you like to address the board if you're here?
You don't have to.
So, step up to the podium if you would and state your name, address, and who you're with.
I just wanted to make sure that I understood that the requirements between reconstructing and vacating didn't seem to be too much different. I was wondering if vacating the tile had been given any consideration.
Surveyor.
In order for it to be vacated, there'd be, either a written petition from the landowners that wanted vacated, or we could decide to vacate it, but we feel like vacating it would cause further public safety issue with the road flooding, both the roads.
Do you have an example of public safety that might be compromised on the flooding?
I mean, it's a Just because it's a school bus route and road flooding.
Okay, thank you.
Could you state your name, please?
My name's Norm Hart.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve or deny?
Or you can do it at the end of, it just,
Don't want to do one at a time?
we can, whatever the board wants to do.
Oh, need to, don't we? And I'd like to make a motion to approve or deny the objection letter from, I'm sorry, Norm and who? Norm and Amy Hart.
So I'll remind the board, and we have a new member here as well, that according to the Indiana code, there's, they can file an objection for 3 basic reasons. The cost, damages, and expenses of the proposed reconstruction project will exceed the benefits that will result to the owners of all land benefited. Or the objector is the owner of the land assessed against is benefited, and the benefits assessed against his land are excessive, or the objector of the land is damaged by the reconstruction, and the board did not take that into account. So one of the reasons you could wait to vote on the objections is that first one is about the entire project. I suppose if you have somebody objecting purely because of their benefits assessed being excessive, you could rule on that one. But it's up to you if you want to do them one at a time or.
I think it'd be cleaner if we did each one.
Okay.
You might want to make a motion to approve or deny the objection by Norm and Amy Hart.
When you make the motion, when you say approve, does that mean that you're approving their objection and it overrules what the surveyor has said, or?
Yes, it would be in contrary to what the surveyor has rebutted in his letter.
And since a motion needs to be positive, how should that be worded?
I'm sorry, the wording?
Yeah, since a motion should not be negative.
Right. So you would vote to disapprove of the objection, if that was the case, or you vote to make a motion to approve the objection. Actually, it's deny. The word's deny. I'm sorry. Deny the objection or approve.
I guess I got a,
Objection.
what do we mean by denying there? I mean, are we saying that what he said isn't true, or are we saying we're not acting on his, I don't understand what.
Sure. It's not that it's not true.
I'm not gonna call him a liar, because
Right.
I don't understand how, if you pick one out and approve it or disapprove it, you're either saying he's right or he's wrong, right?
So the objection, which is maybe, Bruce, a reason why to wait till the end, because he's if I remember right, 5 minutes ago when you read the objection letter, he's not really objecting to say, hey, my land, all my acreage is or isn't involved in this hearing and so forth. I think he was more objecting to the whole project as the concept. So you heard the surveyor's rebuttal. If you, let's just say you deny all these objections that have been filed for various reasons, later on the board could still disapprove the project. The objections are basically so that personally, when they get that notice in the mail, that their acreage is on there, what they're going to pay is on there, and they can make an objection based on that information or on the fact that it is, in their opinion, costs too much, doesn't benefit, etc. Not sure if that helped, but
I mean, we're still going to come to that same question at the end.
you're still going to come to it later, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's
you
move on.
can approve them.
Yeah, move on to the second objection.
Next one, Tim and Kathy High. Tim and Kathy High are against the ore bore drain to be reconstructed due to the laws of the Indiana Drainage Handbook, Public Law 329-1995, IC 38-92, Chapter 27, 36-9-27-34, page 21. Number D, a regulated drain should be vacated when the drain does not perform the function which it was designed and constructed, or it has become inadequate to properly drain all affected land under current conditions. 2, the expense of reconstruction outweighs the benefits of reconstruction. Acts 1981, PL 309, Section 101, amended by PL 166-1983, Section 6. My land does not flood, and the reconstruction of the drain will not improve my land. 2.5 acres of my land drains to a 1-acre pond. There is no field tile on my land that runs to the county drain. There's no benefit to my land with the reconstruction of this drain. The rebuttal, a regulated drain should be vacated when the drain does not perform the function which it was designed and constructed, or it become inadequate to properly drain all affected land under current conditions. B, the expense of reconstruction outweighs the benefits of reconstruction. Both of these drainage codes laws will be taken in consideration by the Drainage Board during their decision-making process.
Third one. Member Kathy High, President, would like to speak.
Hi, sir. I'm Everett Newman. I'm representing him regarding this matter. I'll address the legal issues. I'll address the factual issues. I'm not personally familiar with the property. You've already had the objection there. We agree with the prior remonstrator that there's no change of conditions that require a reconstruction. There's been an improper making of a balance of expenses versus the proposed benefit. If it's inadequate for its purposes, perhaps the board should be considering vacating rather than adding a reconstruction that has not been shown to be necessary. A couple things that I might note is I don't see anything involving special benefit analysis being made regarding properties. You can't make a general determination of benefits within the entire community, and you just assess it on a prorated basis. I don't see anything here where my client received any kind of individualized treatment regarding the determination of special benefits, and that's required by case law. That's how benefits are to be allocated, is on individual lots, not on general community value. Also, there's been no indication that it's been properly supported by facts. The surveyor indicated in his report that the reason for the need for the change was increased rainfall and deterioration of the system. But under 36-9-27-51, the determination is supposed to be made on the increase in flow due to changes in land use on the pre-existing drain. There's been no determination regarding that. So in addition to all the objections that were made by the previous individual, those need to be considered. Also, my client is on the outlying edge of the drainage area, and again goes back to there's been no indication showing any kind of parsing of the benefit to his land as opposed to other lands regarding this particular project. And therefore, we think that any assessment regarding his land, particularly since it's not directly connected with the system itself. All his water goes to a pond on his property. None of the water goes through the drainage system. His drainage system is not hooked up to that. And there's been no determination made there. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think you get it.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Third one.
Next is Tim Shop. We formally object to Bohler drain reconstruction cost assigned percentage amount. The cost, damages, and expenses will exceed the benefits to the land, section 1706-12-100-25.000-007. Where the owners of the land benefited by the drain and the assessed costs are excessive. The alternate less costly resolutions will correct the issue as seen through my 35 years observation of this drain. Tim and Joy Shop. rebuttal letter. Points of objection, the cost, damages, and expenses will exceed the benefits to the land. This will be taken into consideration by the Drainage Board during their decision-making process.
Yes. Yep. State your name.
My name is Tim Shop. There's two things. I want to get into technical aspect first, if I may. What causes a blowout from the drain?
Typically, it's a blockage in the drain that's not allowing the water to flow through, and it's backing up due to head pressure.
So in observing the drain, and I've walked most of it, from County Road 43 east to the first standpipe, 1,000 feet off, the blowout is occurring between 43 and 41 in the creek. That tells me that all the water is coming to us from upstream. It cannot leave between 43, 41 in the creek, because that's where all the blowouts are occurring. So has it been considered to simply rebuild that section from the standpipe east of 43 to the creek? Because the proposal is a 36-inch diameter tile. I have never seen that 18-inch that is currently there more than a quarter full. If you put a 36-inch tile in, there won't be enough flow to scrub it. You're going to get dirt and dirt and dirt because the flow isn't there. I've never seen it full. Part two, the tile that is currently there, the 18-inch tile, is no more than 6 inches, maybe a foot at the dry season above the creek level. That tile is normally, that output is normally underwater during drain time. That tells me that whatever water is coming down the creek is going to backfill that pipe, because water takes the least resistance. It's going to go the other way. So we're going to end up technically with more flow back on our road, the blowouts between 41 and 43, and the 2 acres or 2.5 acres on Jim Ely's land where the standpipe is, because that's where the water goes in, that's where it fills. We can actually see it shoot out. So it appears as though, from a lay point and a cost point, we need to separate this out. I know that you have a concern of water standing on 45 and 28. Okay. Do we know that that is functional? I mean, there was a TV system that went through there 6, 8 years ago. Have we gone through it again and say, okay, this is a clean out? Because all of their land west of 45 is draining. We don't have any standing water. It's only east of 45. That tells me that's where the problem is. And two, the blowouts are because the water cannot get to the creek on 41. We need to solve the two obvious problems to me at a much less cost than $700,000. I am not going to gain a $15,000 improvement in my property. I don't have standing water. Mr. Ely's property, who's here, he has standing water for 3 to 5 days after it rains. The standing water is uphill, and I think there's a problem between 45, 28, and the mill that needs to be addressed separately. Because again, you've got 77 properties that are listed as affected. 66 of those, about 1/3, are private individuals that are gaining nothing in no water addition. Those properties don't have standing water. They don't affect the crops. They don't affect the safety. It's simply not an effective solution to pay $1,000 an acre for something we're not going to get anything out of. If I was a farmer with a field, I would see an advantage. But by rights, if I'm getting that advantage, I should step up and pay the advantage. Not the guy with a yard that is not making any difference in 15 acres. I don't have standing water, I have grass. It doesn't make any sense to spend $700 and some thousand when two areas need to be addressed individually, and then maybe sit back and say, you know, we need to take it further. But by rights, you're going to get the first majority of it done. But a 36-inch tile for 2,800 feet does not make sense. You're not going to have enough water flow to keep it clean. I've done enough engineering work in building buildings that I know that the water at a 1 inch deep on a 36-inch tile, you're going to have silt buildup, and then silt buildup, and then silt buildup. And it's also going to allow that water from the creek to back up. That has not been addressed. How are you going to stop the backflow? Because that tile goes underwater for about 2 to 3 days, every time we have a big rain, all that water's gonna come uphill. You're gonna make a situation potentially worse. And I don't know that it's been properly addressed. I mean, the other thing is, a lot of these tiles, the tile is currently there, there's only a foot of dirt above that tile. You're gonna put a 36-inch tile. How many thousands of tons of dirt are you gonna have to bring in so that the farmer in the field can have a foot of dirt on top of the tile? You got 2,800 feet of 36-inch tile, you're gonna have to put how many tons of dirt on to restore 1 foot? Has that been considered? I mean, you talk about restoration. That's a major issue, to put a 36-inch tile under water and put 24 inches of dirt around it and then another foot on top of that. That, again, economics-wise and engineering-wise, it doesn't make any sense. So,
Glenn, would you like to address any of those?
Any answers, or?
yeah, I would love to have I'd love to have an economical, reasonable engineering answer, not, you know, there's a want and a need.
Which question? Yes.
Okay, why are we putting a 36-inch tile in where the tile flow is never more than an inch or two in the current tile of 18 inches?
Well, if you travel the whole distance of the system, you're gonna see that there's water all over the system, right? You said there's only water standing above 45, that's just not true. Down towards the lower end of the system, I know that Tucker's pasture gets severe flooding on the
That
east
is
side.
the area I'm talking about, the blowouts between.
Okay, on the east side of 43, that field also has severe flooding. And then up there at 45 and 28 has severe flooding on both the north and south side of 28, causing a road hazard. So something has to be done with the system, right? So as long as we can come in agreement on that, we all want to find what's going to work best. You know, for the tile sizing, you were concerned about sediment settling in the tile. In order to get that cover, right, so we're going to have more cover than what the current system has with our new system that we're going to install. And that is all at a grade that's going to carry that sediment, right? That's why it's designed like that. And the larger tile, the flatter it can be, right? So that's another contributing reason of why that tile has to be 36-inch. I understand you're saying you're only seeing a couple inches a lot of the time. There's a lot of water being held up system that is not passing through. That's going to make a difference. As well as that grade is what's going to carry that sediment. If the water gets too low in the system, I mean, another rain, it's going to carry all that sediment through there, right? That's what it's designed for. What was another question we had?
Okay, the standing water you said on between 43 and 45.
Yep.
On Jim Mealy's property?
Yep.
That normally goes for a day, maybe 3 days, and it's 2 acres.
I've seen
That's
I've
not
seen
an
it
issue.
much larger than 2 acres for much longer than a week.
Well, I think Mr. Ely's here, and I think we both can answer that from 40 years of living there,
Sure. I'm not going to argue with you about it.
okay? And again, the blowouts are happening because they cannot get to the creek past 41. We need to get the restriction taken care of, and maybe that simple fix at $100,000 is going to eliminate $600,000 of additional expense. Because again, it just doesn't make sense. The other part is, you've got a tile running right beside 47. If that end of the tile where Orbor starts, you got a 200 or 300 feet section to tie into that other tile that runs south. Does it not make reasonable sense to say, okay, why can't we use that tile and split the flow? Tiles are tiles. If it's in the county, if it's taken care of, why can we not use that and conserve the money? Again, it's a want and a need. I'm not going to get $15,000 worth of advantage out of it. Most of the people here with 2, 3, 5 acres are not going to get $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 addition. If it's a farmer on a field getting water, I agree. He can, at that point, there is a justification for him to contribute appropriately to that amount.
State again where the blowouts, you
The
were,
blowouts are between 43 and 41,
Come in there, Troy.
just before the creek. So if you blow it up,
West side of 41?
it is on the east, well, it's, yeah, right there, that section right there.
In that watershed.
Yep.
Where you can see all the trees and stuff.
That's where the blowout, and I've walked it. That's behind Bill Tucker's and Clint Stevens. There's a lot, but that means it can't get to the creek. There's your backflow, there's your resistance.
Yeah, we were out there, this last year and did some maintenance on their area. There was two really large, holes that were over the system. There is two systems in the ground currently, one really old system and another old system.
Correct.
And one of those holes was on the old system, the really old one, and one is on the current system there. And that's why we put in some new tile to try to see if that's what was blocking it up from getting to the creek. With not much luck. We continuously ran into broken down tile. We were trying to replace it, so we ended up just finding the best piece we could to attach to and stopping there, not wanting to spend any more money to see what was going to happen with the reconstruction hearing or maintenance going forward. So we did try what you're suggesting, that's holding it up from the creek. All of that water up system remained.
Again, we didn't go all the way to the creek. You did a partial fix. And I agree, you did do some. But to sit and say, okay, I'm doing 100 feet, that means the other 2,000 is bad. It is not a fair assessment. And it is not fair to those that are kicking $15,000 for no advantage. To replace the tile from the creek to the standpipe east of 43, where all the water is standing, the majority of it standing, that you're saying, well, yes, Jim is here, we can talk. It's not an objection. It's there for maybe a week, we see it go down. But at the same time, it goes down when the creek goes down because the tile is underwater. It has no place to go. Are you going to lower the tile into the creek? Or we're going to make it better, right? No. You're going to put more water back into the tile. Water has to flow downhill. That area and the level of the creek are almost the same. It's almost flat. So I'm sitting there, to me, it would be, I would phase this into two different ones. Go from the creek to the standpipe east of 43, see what you get out of it, and then do a camera inspection and to see why the tile on 45 and 28 is plugged. Because it didn't used to be. There were crops in those fields. I agree, the last 10 years it's gotten worse. What has caused it? Let's minimize the expense and fix the solution. Make it simple. You know, if your car needs a tune-up, you don't trade it in and buy a new car. You just fix the details. And that's what we have. It just needs a tune-up. So,
Thank you. Fourth objection, Surveyor.
The next one is from Jim Ely. This family farm has a federally protected wetlands project, acres in this drainage area, the only project in DeKalb County. I have attached this agreement because it has two clauses about altering drainage to this area. They say Part 3A prohibition. Drainage, dredging, channeling, filling, leveling, pumping, diking, impounding, or related activities, as well as altering or tampering with water control structures or device. Number 6, diverting or causing a permitting the diversion of surface or underground water into, within, out of the easement area by any means. I believe the changes that the county wants to do to this county tile will violate these, so I will be forwarding this information to the U.S. Department of Agricultural Natural Resources Conservation Service. There are several state laws that apply as well. C3 exhibit attachments referring to state law violations. Exhibit 1, 36-9-27-34. Section D, regulated drain should be vacated when the drain does not perform the function for which it was designed and constructed or has become inadequate to properly drain all affected land under current conditions. The expense of reconstruction outweighs the benefits of reconstruction. Exhibit 2, 36-9-27-51. Increased flow of drainage resulting in whole or in part from a change in land use by one or more owners of the land affected by the drain. The board shall consider the fact in assessing benefits to pay the cost of the reconstruction. And the owner or owners necessitating the reconstruction shall be assessed accordingly. Exhibit 3, 36-9-27-52. Number 1, the costs, damages, and expenses of the proposed reconstruction will exceed the benefits that will result to the owners of all land benefited. Number 2, the objector is the owner of the land assessed as benefited, and the benefits assessed against objector's land are excessive. Cost per acre is $1,296.93. Can't see how this will increase our per acre value by almost $1,300, which by law has to add that value to the land or it should be vacated. We, the undersigned, do not agree with this and would like more economical proposal be found. We could see a 20 or 30%, $20,000 to $30,000, but definitely not $93,262.22. As you can see from all of our exhibits, that is going to increase our property value by that big number. And attached is all the information from the wetland project and all the attachments he described in his letter. And all the drain codes he referenced in his letter. In the Indiana Local Government, Transportation and Public Works, Chapter 27, Drainage Law.
That edited on Ely's?
Yeah, the rebuttal, points of objection. Number 1,
Hold on a minute.
why has the surveyor's office continued to perform maintenance if anticipating a reconstruction? Objection, explanation, or vote, yeah. Number 1, reconstruction depends on the approval through the hearing process. Without knowing when or if a reconstruction will be approved, we must try to keep the drain on. Number 2, these prohibitions apply to the wetland easement area. This drain will be out of the wetland easement and not involve any of these prohibited activities within the wetland easement area. Number 3, the decision to lessen the parcel in question's assessment percentage due to the wetland is a decision for the Drainage Board to consider and decide on. Number 4, the highlighted exhibits of the Drainage Code discussing what necessitates the vacation of a drain are for the Drainage Board members to consider during their decision-making in this hearing process.
Are James or Cheryl like to address the board?
I'm Jim Ely. There where you see the water, I have 300 feet. My entire farm, I can get the south side of the farm to the ditch. There's no way I can drain any part of my farm except for the 20 acres north of the ditch. And like Mr. Tim told you, in a week, what flood water's there is gone, and it used to go quicker until they done the work down the way. Now it's worse than it was. I'm 82 years old. I got 73 acres. That's $94,000 I owe for this ditch assessment. Where in the heck am I going to come up with that kind of money at my age? I got to sell part of the damn farm to pay for this. And it's not doing my farm a dang bit of good except for the 20 acres. And I don't have a problem with it going in a week. I'm very upset, and I've not been able to sleep in 3 weeks. This is very annoying. And I see no reason to spend $100,000 to gain nothing. I'm sorry I'm upset, but I am.
Thank you. One more objection?
Miles Smith, owner, Northfolk Farms LLC. Objection number 1, I don't believe a uniform cost per benefited acre is fair. My biggest concern with this project is how the costs are being divided among the landowners. I understand the county's reasoning for not making every taxpayer in DeKalb County pay for this project. The people who don't receive any benefit from this drain shouldn't have to help pay for it. That makes sense to me. What doesn't make sense is that once you've decided only the people who benefit should pay, it appears everyone within the watershed is then charged the same amount per benefited acre. To me, that ignores the fact that not every property receives the same level of benefit. Some landowners may currently deal with flooding, standing water, crop loss, or drainage problems that this project will directly improve. Those landowners are going to receive a much greater benefit from this reconstruction than someone whose property already drains well. My property is not experiencing flooding or crop loss today. I'm not saying I receive no benefit from maintaining the drainage system. Understand there is value in having a functioning outlet. What I'm saying is that I don't believe my property receives the same level of benefit as a property that has ongoing drainage problems and will see a significant improvement because of this project. If the county's position is that the people who benefit should pay instead of all taxpayers, then I believe that same principle should apply within the watershed. The people who receive the greatest benefit from the project should bear a greater share of the cost than those who receive only a limited benefit. Right now, it appears the assessment assumes every benefited acre is worth exactly the same. I don't believe that's an accurate reflection of how this project will actually affect the different properties involved. For that reason, I respectfully ask the board to reconsider the assessment methodology and determine whether the cost can be allocated in a way that better reflects the actual benefit received by each property owner. Objection number 2, project alternatives. The more I've learned about this project, the more I understand why the county believes something needs to be done. Understand the existing tile is old, that it has failed in multiple places, and that repairs have been made over the years. What I still don't understand is how it was determined that the proposed project is the best solution. It's a major project that will cost landowners hundreds of thousands of dollars. Before asking property owners to pay assessments of this size, I think it's reasonable to expect that every practical alternative has been looked at and compared. Were options like replacing only the failed sections considered? Could the work be completed in phases? Were other drainage configurations or routing options looked at? If those alternatives were considered, why were they rejected? I'm not an engineer. I'm not pretending to know what the best solution is. There may be very good reasons why replacing the entire system is the right answer. If that's the case, I would simply like to understand how that conclusion was reached. I think the people being asked to pay for this project deserve to know that the county didn't just choose a solution, but that it chose the best solution after carefully considering other reasonable options. Before final approval, I respectfully ask the board to explain what alternatives were evaluated, how they compared to the proposed project, and why the proposed reconstruction was determined to be the most appropriate and cost-effective approach. Objection number 3, reducing the financial burden on landowners. Whether or not the board ultimately moves forward with this project, I believe every reasonable effort should be made to reduce the financial burden placed on the landowners who are being asked to fund it. For many families and farming operations, assessments of this size are not something that can simply be absorbed into a yearly budget. They represent a significant unexpected expense. On top of that, financing the assessment over 5 years at 10% interest rate substantially can be established by Indiana law or the financing method being used. It still creates a significant additional financial burden for people responsible for paying for this project. For that reason, I respectfully ask the board to consider whether there are ways to lessen that burden. Could the project be completed in phases? Are there grant opportunities, cost-sharing programs, or alternative financing options that can reduce the amount ultimately paid by landowners? Those options have already been explored. I appreciate understanding what was considered and why they were not feasible. My request is not that necessary work be postponed indefinitely, but that every reasonable effort be made to accomplish the project in a way that minimizes the financial impact on families and businesses that are being asked to pay for it. Rebuttal letter number 1. Assessment of the reconstruction of a uniform cost per benefited acre is in accordance with the State of Indiana Drainage Code. Number 2, there are 3 options for this regulated drain. The first is reconstruction as proposed. The second is for a large maintenance rate increase and extensive maintenance project repairing and replacing damaged tile from the bottom to the top of the system. Potential for more issues arising in the near future, further increasing demand on the maintenance funds required. And the third option would be to vacate the drain, which is highly unrecommended as it would lead to further road flooding and property damage. Third one, a phased project is something the board could consider helping spread the financial burden over a longer period of time. It likely involves 2 phases, one from the outlet to the railroad tracks, and the second phase, which would include boring under the railroad tracks in US 6, and completing the tile installation on the north side of US 6. The drawback to Phase 2 approach is the length of time required to complete the project, as well for a potential increase in costs over time to the bidding of the second phase. Number 4, the portion of the drain from County Road 43 to the outlet to the George Match and open drain is the bottom end of the system and must be sized appropriate to handle the drainage of the system. That section would be highly recommended not to vacate, as it would remove regulation connecting the drain to the outlet.
Is Miles Smith in attendance, like to speak? Good morning.
Smith, address 3150 County Road 43, Northwell Farms. I wanted to echo Tim and Ely. They kind of pointed out a lot of my issues with the project. I'm still not understanding, the benefit of, I don't experience any crop loss. I don't experience any drainage issues. I understand that other people have issues. So I'm not saying that that's not important, but it just, for me, I've lived in that area my whole life, grew up there, know the farmers who farm there, and it's just, I feel fortunate that only 12 of mine are impacted, but for someone like Ely and the Tuckers, I can't even imagine having that come upon us, and so it just, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense. $700,000 for the 3 days that the road has water over it for twice a year. That's a lot of money just for, it seems crazy to me that there couldn't be other options that are more cost effective. So those are, I echo what everyone else has said up to this point, but that's just my take on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it, right?
So we got one more.
One more?
This one, it was not filed in time, but we're still gonna read it. We just have no rebuttal. It's from Justin and Stacy White. The DeKalb County Drainage Board, we're writing to Justin and Stacy. To the DeKalb County Drainage Board, we're writing to formally object to the proposed reconstruction assessment for the Orbo drain as it applies to our property. According to the notice dated May 26, 2026, our estimated assessment is $11,425.95, representing 1.47% of reconstruction costs. We expect to object to this assessment because we do not believe our property receives a benefit from the proposed reconstruction that justifies this amount. We do not believe our property's runoff has been accurately represented in relation to the Bohler drain. The most recent meeting, a member of the DeKalb County Drainage Board stated that our property is located on the edge of the watershed. Based on our observations of the land, our water does not appear to drain towards or into the Bohler drain. Rather, our runoff drains toward a low-lying area on the back corner of Pam Dawn's property near County Road 45. Additionally, we have been informed that if we wanted to tie into the new drain, we would be required to pay additional money to do so. This raises serious concern regarding the actual benefit our property would receive from this reconstruction. Our property does not currently drain into the system and would require additional private expenses to utilize the drain, and we respectfully request that the board clearly explain and document the specific benefit being assigned to our property. For these reasons, we object to the proposed assessment on the following grounds. Number 1, the proposed assessment is excessive in relation to any actual benefit received by our property. Number 2, our property appears to be located at the edge of the watershed and does not appear to drain into or through the Bohler drain. Number 3, our observed runoff drains towards the low-lying back corner of Pam Dawn's property near County Road 45, not toward the reconstructed drain. Number 4, we have been told that tying into the reconstruction drain would require additional cost, which suggests our property is not presently served by the drain in the same manner as properties directly connected to or draining into it. Number 5, we request that the board place this objection along with any supporting evidence we provide to the official record before making a final determination. Respectfully request that the DeKalb County Drainage Board do the following before adopting the final assessment schedule. Number 1, reevaluate whether our parcel is properly included in the benefited watershed for the Bohler drain reconstruction. Number 2, identify on the record the specific evidence showing that runoff from our property enters, uses, or benefits from the Bohler drain. Number 3, explain how 1.47% assessment and the $11,425.95 estimated costs were calculated for our parcel. Number 4, review any available topographic maps, watershed maps, aerial imagery, site observations, drainage calculations, and flow direction evidence related specifically to our property. Number 5, consider reducing or removing our assessment if the evidence does not show a direct and measurable benefit to our property. We're not objecting to necessary drainage work for landowners who are directly benefited by the reconstruction. We are asking that our property be evaluated accurately and fairly based on actual drainage patterns and actual benefit to our land. Please accept this letter as our timely written objection to the proposed assessment and include it in the official hearing record. Respectfully submitted, Justin White.
Let it show on the record that the surveyor's office received that letter yesterday, and the code says it has to be received 5 days before the hearing.
Very good. Justin or Stacy, present, like to speak? Very good. That's it, correct?
Yeah.
Anybody like to make a motion to approve or deny the objection letters?
You want to do that before 15? It's up to you. I think this is a new procedure, a little bit. We had dropped the motion on the objections to number 16.
Say that again.
Technically,
Go to 15?
yeah, if you want to do 15 to open it up for,
Okay. What about 14? Okay, pretty much did that.
I think you did
Everybody?
that,
Let's
yeah.
do 14.
You did that.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak against the project? That's, feel free to state your name, address who you're with.
Yeah, Michael and Terry Richardson, 4516 County Road 28. We didn't send a letter in, but we do want to formally object. We would not see any benefit from the project.
You said Richardson?
Yes.
This is Jim Ely again. On the wetland that drained the federal wildlife wetland that has a drain that goes to this ditch. I was back there last night and it's 7.5 inches below the drain. So it can't run in there. The only time any water comes out of this watershed is when we get a hard rain in the spring. And they're saying all this ground and this water I gotta pay for. And I have no benefit from it. I just want you to know this drain that comes out of this wetland is not contributing to this drain.
Les Worsler, County Road 41, 28. I still stand and feel that my section's been replaced probably 8 years ago. It's 24-inch, works perfectly fine. We get ahead of 5 inches of rain, I may have water standing for 1 day and it's gone. So what I'm saying, this drain's been replaced from Don Smith's open where the open ditch is, all the way through my property. Chris Watwood's property is 24-inch, goes over to a stand-up on Clint Stevens. They just replaced another 100 feet on the neighbor lady. Let's pick it up from where it's just been replaced and go on across Tucker's ground. I'd be glad to spend my $1,200 assessment to fix the tile where it's got blowouts on Tucker's ground clear over to 43. Let's fix it where it needs fixed. Where it's working fine, leave it alone. It's doing good. My other thing is, if you do go back through my ground again, which I've had for 30 years, and they've been in there 3 times and dug up my ground, is existing tiles gonna be replaced where it's tied in? Question?
During the reconstruction, you mean? Like
Yes.
if the reconstruction were to happen, the existing tile would be removed. Both of those old systems we would want to remove, so that way
If
we
there's
don't.
tiles coming off of my ground, is it gonna be retied into that tile?
Yep, all existing laterals that run in will reconnect to the new system.
Right, second question, is my lawn gonna get replaced? I've redone it 3 times over my 30 years. I've had to fix it. After they've been in and tore it up, are they gonna reseed it, level it?
Sure. On reconstructions, especially when we go through yards, we like to go in and reseed it, so that's what we would want to be part of the bid package for the
Our
contract.
pasture fence, is it gonna have to be tore down and replaced? My responsibility, or is the county gonna take care of me?
Technically, your fence is in the right of way, so it should be your responsibility, but on reconstructions where we know ahead of time that we're going through there, we'll try to work with the landowners, get that removed. A lot of times when our contractors have their equipment out there, it makes it easy.
If they proceed with this project, when do you foresee this to all start?
A lot of it depends on the railroad permitting and the NDOT permitting. So once we can kind of get that and schedule it, then we can put everything out to bid.
So we're gonna be noticed through the mail
Yeah.
when it's gonna start?
Yes.
I'd like to reiterate one more time, if you would put up on the map the area to 41. Okay. So is this where it goes to the creek?
Yeah, this is,
All right.
this is the creek right here.
So all of the blowouts have been happening between here and here. I've not seen anything up north from that. So I'm still proposing that this section be replaced and tied in, even if we go over here to the standpipe, and relieve the pressure, because the standpipe is right there. Relieve the pressure that is causing the blowouts the rest of the way as a first phase, and see what happens. Phase 2, go back over here on 45 where the standing water is across into this land here. See why that tile decided to stop working. Because they were in with the camera, they said it was okay. Obviously, something has changed. But again, 2 phases that have got to be less than $700,000. And it's also less disruptive to a lot of people. It makes a lot more sense.
I think what you're trying to suggest is, we've said there's basically 3 options on this, and, one is reconstruction, the other is, extensive maintenance, so it sounds like that's what you're leaning towards. You want to see a larger maintenance project done, to go through there to find those problems and try to keep this existing system working. In order to do that, we would have to do a maintenance rate increase to have enough funds, which is not, a huge obstacle to overcome, as long as you understand that, right, there's still going to be cost in that of increasing, so that way we have the funds to do it.
It's not going to be $15,000 in 3 years or 5 years.
Correct, yep.
Okay, so again, this section to here, I can understand doing that. That's, I think it was 18 inches through here. And you had made the comment about the blowout being the old tile. I have never seen water come out of that old tile at the creek.
So you keep saying blowouts, there's also suck holes, right, where the tile can collapse, and then any water passing through can suck
Which
that.
makes a blowout when the water comes through the next time.
It makes a suck hole, so the dirt will suck down into the tile and then create a large hole where all of the dirt is gone, right? As opposed to a blowout that is coming up out of the top.
Again, it's because of the plug that it can't get to where it wants to go.
Or collapsed tile, that's the
Again,
thing.
it can't get to where it wants to go.
Okay. No, different things, right?
Same issue, you have a restriction in the pipe, you need to fix the restriction.
Or broken tile.
That's a restriction.
Anyone else in the audience would like to address the board? Go ahead. State your name, address.
Terry Richardson, 4516 County Road 28. So our property is on the corner of, we actually own on 28 all the way to 45. And they came in like a few years ago and did like a roto route on our property. It's in a woods. We don't care if it floods or not. So we're against all of this because we really don't care if our property floods because it's a woods. But I realize there's a farm like to the east of us and they probably care. But when they came in and did that, did they do anything but roto-root the tile, or is that tile still in place? Like, is that tile collapsed, or is it still fully in place?
It should still be in place. When they roto-root it, they don't remove the tile or anything. They're trying to get those roots out from in there. The roots like to get inside that tile because it senses that water, and then it'll just plug up that tile. So they run the rotor rooter through there to try to clear it out. Now, I would imagine it's probably full of roots again, contributing to some of the flooding issues. If we were to do the reconstruction, the new tile were to go through there, we would clear those trees that are over top of the tile, and then we would start a program to keep that maintained, so that way the trees don't grow back on the tile to plug it full of roots. You know, not gonna take out all of your woods, but over top of our tile, we'd wanna try to keep that cleaned out, just to avoid that issue. Now, it's not to say that those roots haven't deteriorated that tile over time. As they try to work their way back in, it definitely could have broken that tile
But
back
that
down.
tile is still existing,
Yes.
as far as you know?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
I hope so.
Yeah, Rory Walker, and I'll probably get shot for being up here supporting this whole project. Puts the board in a kind of a tight spot here. It is awful. It's awful expensive. The benefits are hard to pencil out. But there's ground up through there. The elevator needs it for drainage. There's times that it's been shut down because of flooding. The roads floods, safety on the road. We got farm ground that it's bad. Poor Rocky, he hadn't farmed his farm for a couple years here. I went back to the last hearing we had. The costs today are 53% higher than they were then. I think that's awful. And I got notes where Fred Knott, a respected contractor, worked on the ditch in 2016, went up through that ditch and done all the repairs he could. I talked to him. I says, we're gonna get it fixed. He says, no, we're just wasting your taxpayer money. I think the bill was $53,000. There's a lot of things that are gonna have to be repaired over time. The board, I guess, has the responsibility to move ahead here and make a decision. I don't like it either. I don't like approving the whole project for expenses, but it has to be done. The elevator needs it. We need it. The people that have trees on top of the tile and said they don't care if it floods, they're the ones holding us up. We can't drain through that. Tile's plugged. Somebody has to make some decisions here. It's a big project. Watershed, the Indiana Drainage Code is pretty well defined that people in the watershed all get assessed equally. That's a tough decision for everybody here. But I think we need to step up to the plate and make some major decisions. And I guess I'll put it on you guys' shoulders after that. Surveyor's office has done a great job trying to figure it out. I've looked at the engineering on it. You know, the people don't want a 30-inch tile. The 30 lays pretty flat, and then they go up with a 24 at a greater grade. They got to have a 30 to take the 24, the water that it's going to feed. Any tile down there that's not running full right now, it's because it's plugged on the top end. So there's a lot of considerations here that are statements that are just not quite true. I'd like to have you guys consider approving the project.
Thank you. Anyone else like to make a statement?
Yes, William Hartman, formerly a member of the Drainage Board, and most everybody on the Drainage Board's heard my concerns about this project, and I'm not here to support or object to it. I'm just here to support Mr. Ely's contention that that wetland should be exempt. I have my hand is actually a warranty easement deed issued to Department of the United States of America, Department of Agriculture. And it talks about the joint ownership of this wetland between Mr. Ely and the United States government. So it brings me to the question, this is a federally regulated, federally funded, but it was funded a one-time payment back in 1996 to the original landowner. So Mr. Ely has no benefit from this wetland monetarily. So in other words, he's going to spend in excess of $90,000 to benefit 20 acres of ground as under agricultural production. So I would ask the board to exempt that wetland acreage, and if anything, that bill should go to the United States government for that wetland. If we're going to bill somebody, let's bill the United States government. They should pick it up. And it doesn't say that in the paperwork, obviously. The government's going to exempt itself from any future obligations to control this drainage system or improve this drainage system. So I would just ask that that be exempt and be fair to Mr. Ely. He's got a big bird with a very little benefit.
Thank you, Bill. Bill, did you give us a copy of that you have? Can I have a copy of that you?
I think we have it.
We have that?
You have it.
Is that in the packet that? Yeah. Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, Jim submitted it with his,
It's in his objection letter.
Okay, I just didn't make sure.
Yeah, it's got everything in there.
Yeah, there was a lot in there, so I just didn't make sure that was in there if it was.
Any further questions or comments from anybody in the audience? Anybody on the drainage board got any questions for anything that was brought up?
I'd like to have Ben come up and talk about the roads a little bit. Sorry, Ben.
Morning, everyone. Ben Parker, DeKalb County Highway Superintendent. I'm just here to see what was going on with the drainage project and hear the concerns and complaints, and I do have sympathy for everyone that's got to pay into that. I mean, it's, we get in people's pocketbooks, that's tough. I understand that for all of you. As far as the highway standpoint on these things, we deal with a lot of flooding in the county, especially during rain events. Not just particularly the old Bohler drain, but there's a lot of drains. And we get our hands tied because we just maintain roadside ditches. We get these low points, we get the areas where the water floods and congregates. Our phone, we take a lot of phone calls, and unfortunately, we can't do nothing. A lot of the flooding in the county on the roadways goes back to the surveyor. You know, as there's control of the drainage or control of getting it out of there, we can't go back on private right-of-ways and maintain tiles and drains. You know, we are literally stuck in the road right-of-way. And there's a lot of instances that there's nothing that we can do. And, you know, that's what we got to tell people when they call in, that, you know, we've had roads flooded for months due to county tiles. The surveyor's been working hard diligently on replacing a lot of those tiles, upgrading them. But unfortunately, the way my understanding that the drainage code and things are set up, there's maintenance funds, so much funds in a drainage. It takes a while to get that done. I appreciate Glenn and Tyler, the work you guys has done when we've had issues. They implemented when Glenn and Tyler come in here a while back that we report our road floodings to them. The ones that's the biggest problem for the longest durations. They worked hard to alleviate that issue, but they're still there. You know, there's so many Band-Aids you can do, so many patches you can do, same way with the road. Eventually we have to reconstruct. If that's the solution here, I mean, I understand it. It's going to be a burden, and the highway, we're stuck in a lot of that as well with cut fundings and we still have the same thing to maintain. People still expect to have a quality road and be able to travel when they want. And so I appreciate what you guys are doing, and hopefully we can come to a solution to work for everyone and best we can. Is there anything else you'd like?
How often is that County Road 28 closed, do you know? Just kind of an estimate. I'm not gonna hold you to the number, but.
I would have to go back through our flood logs. The last time it flooded, I remember it was a cold spell because the road iced over. And we had some issues with that. The school complained a lot. Didn't hear much from the co-op, but I know it puts a burden on the co-op because they got a lot of grain trucks coming out of that road. They travel 28, and a lot of them's got concern with crossing that high-rise crossing there on the railroad.
And it usually is between County Road 45 and 47, is that correct?
On 28, yes,
28,
and also 45 floods because of this, just south of 28, because of that drain.
You've had to shut down 28 because of it?
We've shut down 28 several times.
Have you shut down 45 for it yet, or no?
We put high water signs there. I don't believe that we've had to technically close that for a while.
28 you have, okay.
28 we have, yes. You know, the water will set on the roadway for quite a while. You know, the last time it was there, the road closed signs I know was up for well over a week, maybe a week and a half, too. But even when it gets off the road, it still is right up to the road edge, still gets underneath the road, and it's still gonna damage the road, because it's making that sub-base soft. That's something we gotta think about as well, you know.
Thank you.
So, hey, thank you, guys.
Anyone else like to speak? More questions?
If I may, Mr. Ely, have you received, according to testimony here, it says you do not receive any monies for the wetlands from the federal government? Is that, have you received, you've received none?
The guy, Brainbridge before us, owned the ground. He got $20,000 for it, one-time deal, and that was it.
Okay.
There's no money comes in from it, but it's going out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay up there a minute, I want to ask you a question, Mr. Ely. Didn't mean to turn you around there. We have two things like you have over on my side of the county. Fred not put them in, and I think they're on Raymond and Malcolm's now. But I have never in my time seen the water go over the top of his stand. Does the water ever get up high enough on your blocks that it goes over, or?
On what now?
On your blocks, on your drainage for your outlet, for your wetlands?
Maybe a week or two in the spring when we get a lot of rain.
Yeah.
It will run into that. That is the only time.
Yeah.
I can say right now, it's 7.5 inches below.
Yeah.
And it won't be there until next spring.
Yeah, I know that, you know, in the summer, they drain those down or in fall, and like the ones over by me, they don't fill back, there's enough area that they don't fill back up and run over.
See, all my other farm ground drains into that.
Yeah.
20 acres on the north side of that wetland is all that drains into this ditch. Other than in the spring when it runs over the spillway. And I mean, it's maybe a week and two at the most. And other than that, like I say, right now it's 7.5 inches below. I was down last night and measured it.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, for the surveyor's office, Troy, if you could move that up a little bit. That lateral there,
This one here?
I presume going into the wetland,
Yep, that one was vacated.
that was vacated? Okay.
I think around the time that that was designated as a wetland, I think is around the same time as when it was vacated.
Okay. If that, so that changed the topography or what's in, I mean, because south of that is still part of that drain, correct?
The overflow from the wetland goes to our drain. That's what Jim was talking about. It only hits that overflow maybe like 1 week out of the year. But that watershed's all included there in the Bohler because it still does go that direction, right? All of that water, just like Jim said, it flows into his wetland and it retains it most of the year. But the outlet still connects. So it's part of the watershed.
On the southeast-west side of it, all flows north to the wetland?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the flow lines here is the concentration points, and they all point towards the wetland.
Has the surveyor's office had any of those south, east, west there complain about drainage?
No, those complaints would come from Jim, probably, or from Coomers, who I think own the field to the south. But no, because our tile isn't there. So, I mean, if there was flooding on that other side of the wetland there, it's kind of out of our purview. It'd be a private drainage issue to run it to the wetland, and then that wetland would be connected our drain.
And then also on the south side, I mean, right here is the watershed boundary, so anything, you know, with the exception of this area right here, anything, you know, further down is in a different watershed and flows towards another system, so.
I understand. I just was curious if the landowners had complained about drainage.
Not there.
Any more questions? Now entertain a motion to approve or deny the objections by Norman, Amy Hart. We do them one by one or just add them all?
By one.
I'd like to make a motion to approve or deny the objection by Norman, Amy Hart.
What does that mean? I'm still lost.
Lost. Depending on what they objected to, it would mean that their personal objection that they filed, and they would have a right for judicial review to have a judge reconsider this decision if they don't agree with it. So they had to file the objection to get that right. So by you denying or approving the objection, either A, if they made an objection that they need to be taken out of the watershed, you say yes or no, or half their land, not half their land, this acre is in it, this acre isn't. If you ask the surveyors their opinion, you know, do you think all the lands in the watershed are assessed correctly, then depending on the evidence that they gave in their letter, you could decide to approve their opinion versus the surveyor. A lot of them, I would say most of them, if correct me if I'm wrong, objected to the whole project concept. That's something where the board is going to have to decide if you want to continue discussion on whether or not that first way you can object is that the costs, damages, and expenses of the proposed reconstruction project will exceed the benefits that result to all owners of all the land. So it's both individual and the project that you would be approving or denying, based on what their objection actually said. So if you go down through here and you as a board member want to look at maybe want to approve the objection based on the whole project, then the board needs to discuss, I guess, how you're going to handle that. The more objections that are based on that decision will kind of lead to the final decision of the board. And just so the board understands, you do have options at this hearing. You can recess it if you need more information, and you can adjourn it to another time. We have to set that time from this hearing. If you need more information, you can go ahead with the project and approve it, or you can say we're not going to do the project and vote against it. That's your three options.
I would need more information. I'd like to have more information, my personal opinion. Do we have to do the objection letters before we make that, if we make a motion to?
The code does not say that, so what in a sense, if we need to reconvene and set to another date, then we would just roll those objections over and deal with them at the reconvene hearing. They would still be on the record, still live and going. We just have to, you would decide then.
I would make the motion to reconvene. I want to talk to the surveyor about a few other things and take what I've heard from the audience and make a better decision on it. That's my motion. Anybody wants to second it?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to reconvene at a later date. Do we want to set a date now, or?
Let's get the motion done, and then you can do the time.
Passes. It might fail.
Is there any further discussion? Here, no further discussion. All in favor of reconvening at a later date, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries.
Now you would make a motion for the date for the reconvene hearing.
We need to resend notices, Shannon?
No, you shouldn't have to. The board, hold on here.
Pardon?
You can just send a simple letter, probably would be a good idea, maybe in this case. Because I'm guessing how much time is needed is one question. Is this 30 days, 60 days, 90 days?
30 days for me. 30 days.
Does everybody understand what is happening here? The board needs more information in order to make a decision, so we're going to adjourn the hearing. It's still open. No decisions have been made at this point. We're going to set a time for the hearing to reconvene. You're all welcome to come back at that time with, I'm assuming we're going to take other evidence at that time, depending on what is found out by the surveyor or the board members in this next 30-ish days. And so your objections are going to remain on the record. And please come back for the second part of the hearing, if you can, in order to hear what the board decides.
Make the motion to have it be done on August 6th. That's a drainage board meeting. August 6th. We already have drainage board that day. We could have it after the initial drainage board.
I'll second it.
9 a.m.?
Well, it would be done with regular business by 9.
I will.
Make sure that
She'll
it's
make
already
sure we
done.
are.
Yep. 9 a.m. on August 6th is my motion. We have a second from
I
Terry.
have a motion and a second to reconvene on August 6th at 9 a.m. Is there any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion carries.
Thanks, everyone, for coming. I mean, this is a very hard thing for us as a surveyor's office as well. I mean, we got to do our best due diligence with following the state code, engineering, working with each of you as landowners. I mean, we get both sides of people that really want this done and both sides of people that don't want this done, and it's very hard for us to make everybody happy while following state regulations and codes. So thank you all for coming.
Yes. There are no objections. This meeting will stand adjourned.
Well, yeah, yes, I guess this meeting is adjourned to reconvene on August 6th.
There you go.
This meeting is adjourned to reconvene on August 6th at 9 a.m.